Last night, Jimmy Certain said, "You may have to be perfect to win this one, Earl," as he tossed a 300 game in the position round. Tonight, it's an historic senior PBA event live on ESPN. ESPN and the Professional Bowlers Association present the $55,000 Flint PBA Senior Open from Richfield Bowl in Flint, Michigan. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to our coverage here on ESPN. And it is an historic night because a true legend in the sport of bowling, Earl Anthony, makes his final appearance in tournament play, and, of course, his final appearance in the championship round. Bowling fans from coast to coast will remember this show for a long, long time. Working with me once again, two-time Firestone champ Mike Durbin. And, Mike, I know you had a lot of head-to-head battles with Earl out on the PBA Tour. Your observations of that wonderful career?
Well, it was my privilege to be able to bowl many times against Earl. I only bowled him for a title on two occasions, and we split. But what I have to say is I just feel really sad about tonight happening because Earl has just meant so much to our sport. I'm, for one, really hate to see him go. I think he has just been one of the dominant figures of anybody in any sport. The way he dominated bowling in the 70s, no other athlete in their sport dominated it like he did ours.
Yep, Earl was a six-time Player of the Year. But let's move to another lefty who has led his second PBA senior event, Richard Beattie.
Well, this is his second time in the championship round, the second time that he has led the tournament. He led last year in Hammond and lost to John Handigard. He's proved that he can get the strikes in qualifying. He's proved that he can strike in the match play. What he hasn't proved is that he can do it one game tonight and win this tournament.
And a player that Richard is very familiar with, our number 2 qualifier, Gene Stus. Of course, they've gone head-to-head many times in the greater Detroit area.
Well, they've been bowling against each other for probably the last 20 years. Gene is the hottest bowler on the senior PBA Tour. He's made 3 championship round appearances. He's won once already this year, and he's in the running for Senior PBA Player of the Year.
Oh, and the scores were high this week. A record 8 300 games. Our number 3 qualifier, Jimmy Certain, of course, had one of those. Let's move down to the current Player of the Year, though, on the Senior 2, John Hricsina, who qualified number 5.
Easygoing John Hricsina. He seems to always be up there. He's certainly strong enough to win 4 games tonight, but winning 4 games is really hard tonight, Dan, because the scores are so high.
Will Earl Anthony win his final event in PBA history? Stay tuned to find out. We'll be back with the start of match number 1 momentarily. The championship round finals of the $55,000 Flint PBA Senior Open are being brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. And by HBO, simply the best. Coming up next, the opening match. Earl Anthony looks for title number 46. He takes on Player of the Year, John Hricsina, when we return to Flint, Michigan.
There are 2 men who wish March 18th never would have happened. After 7 punishing rounds of trading bone-bruising body punches and jaw-crunching jabs, they came up empty. Now it's time to finish it. Tyson Ruddick, the rematch, June 28th, the Mirage, brought to you by the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser. This time, it's not over till it's over.
This minivan goes shopping, gets the kids to school, carries camping gear. When I need brakes, I can't wait for my dealer to fix them.
Then come to Midas.
Hey, this is a minivan.
Hey, this is Midas. Cars, trucks, vans, and minivans. We're the brake experts. We do the job right with a written estimate up front, Midas-trained experts, and a great guarantee.
What about price?
You get a good price and a lot of value. But brakes done right, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Beware of HBO's all-new episodes of Tales from the Crypt. You won't believe your eyes. You may lose your grip. Or get a little jumpy. That's how it goes with our terrific tales of murder, madness, and mayhem. And that's just the fun part. Tune in and you just might be another satisfied customer. Tales from the Crypt. It's only on HBO.
24-hour stakeout. Hey, I'm coming.
Your equipment better work, and in close quarters, your deodorant better work overtime. That's why Sure made new Pro Stick for men to protect for over 24 hours. In close quarters, we didn't want Pro Stick to come on strong then fade early. New Pro Stick has a long-lasting ingredient so our scents don't come on too strong but protect for over 24 hours.
Got it.
We'll call it a night. You mean a day?
Try new Sure Pro Stick for men. The Pro works overtime every time.
The first time the PBA Senior Tour has ever held an event in Flint, Michigan. And a terrific crowd on hand to see history in the making here this evening because for Earl Anthony, this is the last time.
Well, any game he bowls now could be his last one in competition.
Didn't practice much on the championship round pair, and that's probably a pretty good indication why.
Well, it was very hot down there, Dan, and over on the practice pair it was a lot cooler, and as Earl told me, he says the lanes are nice. No secret how to hit the pocket. It's just a matter whether you can do it when the lights are on.
In discussing the championship round pair with all 5 players, it's a little bit tighter than the lanes have been throughout the week. Hricsina with that muscle shot gets the 5-pin to dance into the 7, and he opens with a strike.
Well, John's biggest asset is his strength. He can overcome conditions with that. He's proved he can strike on tough conditions, easy conditions. He just proved that he's a very good bowler.
Had an opportunity to talk to John. I said, you know, any feelings about bowling Earl? And he said, no, everybody hit the pocket with virtually every shot this week. So it's just a question of carry.
And talking about carry, he leaves a solid 10 right away. Something unusual that I noticed right away is that Earl, who finished higher in the standings, chose to finish on the right lane. Normally, Earl likes to get his score up there quickly and make the other guy catch him. He must like lane 40 better than 39 to do that.
Hard and straight with a different surface ball for Hricsina, who spares in the second. Now let's see if the doomsday stroking machine can do just that.
Well, we know he's going to stroke it. He always strokes it.
Just a question of whether or not it strikes.
Right. Ten-pin a little slow going down, but it went down.
Tell you what I've always loved about Earl's game, especially when he is on his game, is the fact that all the strikes kind of look the same.
Well, here's the classic form of Earl Anthony, 5-step player. Takes very little time. Pushes the ball now down. Ball's in perfect time. Watch it. Backswing's higher than it was in years past. That short follow-through style that he made famous.
No, you guys talked about timing last week on our Average Builders segment. Anytime you see Earl stand up and wait and take a look, you know that he's liked the shot. So Anthony starts pack, 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 and Hricsina's got to be saying, oh, no, not tonight.
Well, what Hricsina is saying is that every time he's on television, everybody, the least anybody has started at him with is a turkey. They all strike at him, he thinks.
Down by 20. Ooh. Out to about the 2 board, and Hricsina calmly comes back with a beautiful shot of his own.
Well, John, you know, has started a lot of strikes over his career, and so a turkey doesn't scare him. 4-step player here. Well out of the lane. Look at how far that ball gets out. Turns left, right about at 45 feet, and all 10 pins in the pit. There we see the bowler track. He started off at 16 miles an hour and started out aboard 7.5 and only went out to 5.5 at 45 feet. Got further than that down the lane. And there's a double.
This time he carries the 10-pin on the left-hand lane. So we've seen 7 shots and 6 strikes. The scenario remains the same. The seniors really did nothing but knock him down here this week.
8 300 games, twice the amount of the record before of 4. So they really enjoyed themselves here in Flint, and the scores showed it.
A number of records fell by the wayside here. Anthony again with another strike. Calmly moving from one lane to the next. John Hricsina had a big grin on his face with that last strike, and he knows right now that Earl, I think, is going to have a big night.
Well, you never know. I mean, Earl just keeps throwing balls in the pocket. He's not excited about this yet. You know, he gets about 3 or 4 more, and he might get a little excited, but he's just taking them one at a time.
Which is what he has done so well through all those years. This one doesn't hold pocket, though, and he's fortunate with the fact that he leaves just the 6-pin.
Got a little too casual with that shot. He is trying to throw the ball slower on purpose. That was the adjustment he made during the last 6 games. He softened up that speed to get out that 7th pin, and occasionally the ball will creep high when you do that, Dan. Cross lane at the 6th pin. And, of course, one of the great spare shooters of all time has no trouble with that.
And throughout most of his career, stuck with the same ball to shoot spares as he threw strikes with.
And basically the same hand release, then. He didn't throw it harder and straighter. He just stroked at the spares, too.
Hricsina down by 19, but could cut into that lead with a strike here.
Stroked it himself. And trips out to 4. That was really a moderate speed for John Hricsina. Normally, John, really zips through that ball in the follow-through. Watch how easily he strokes the ball here. Stands well at the back of the approach. This short backswing, all that power. And the result was tripping that 4. Speed only, it only slowed down 1/10 of a mile from 15 feet, where it was at the 3.5 board, to 45 feet. It only slowed down 1/10 of a
mile per hour.
Yeah, couldn't get it out there.
Stretched out nicely with that one. Light hit doesn't carry. He leaves the 10. I'm struck by the similarities, Mike. If you look at John Hricsina and Earl Anthony, both players have a bent elbow in their backswing.
And so did Don Carter.
Yeah.
Some of the great bowlers, it seems like, have that slight bent elbow.
And when you talk about similarities, you can further develop that by the fact that both of these guys started bowling at the age of 21. Kind of amazing, really, when you think about it. Hricsina and Anthony matched up in game number 1. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Greg LeMond, honorary chairperson for the National Multiple Sclerosis MS 150 Bike Tour. From April through November, thousands of Americans will join in one of the nation's fastest-growing cycling events. Whether you ride an MS 150 for the challenge, the fun, or to help fight the effects of MS, be a winner and ride. For information on how you can join the MS 150, call your local MS Society chapter and start cycling.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Sure, all right.
Which beer would you rather try?
The darker one. This one, Your Honor.
Here's Budweiser, and this is Coors Extra Gold.
Really? All right.
Want to know something else?
What's that?
58% of Bud drinkers prefer Coors Extra Gold in an independent taste test.
Makes this to me.
Coors Extra Gold, slow brewed for that real beer flavor and real beer color, the way beer was meant to be. So what are you going to do?
Gonna switch.
Coors Extra Gold. No doubt about it. Beer is back.
There's no doubt about it.
There are different tests of human endurance. In auto racing, it's the 24 hours of Le Mans. See the start, plus an update, and the finish, beginning Saturday live on ESPN.
Earl Anthony leads by 10. Earl started with a 4-bagger and then threw a shot that was a little soft on 39.
Seems like he's got quite a bit of room on that right lane. He could actually send the ball a little bit left, and it makes it back.
He also told me that there was a little tug area in there, and he said, that helps me, Denny, because my mistakes are normally throwing the ball, pulling a little bit right.
I didn't know he made mistakes.
Well, for him, a mistake is a quarter of a board.
Oh, okay.
For you, it was probably a half a board. For me, it was like an arrow. Yeah, very possibly the most accurate player of all time, wouldn't you think?
I would definitely think.
And probably building on that, a guy that was able to repeat shot after shot after shot once he did get locked in.
Well, I think there was no one in the sport that repeated shots like Earl Anthony did. You just took pictures of him now, and the only difference now is that he has tried for more speed, and his backswing is higher than it was in the mid-70s and early 80s.
Down by 20, pressure time for John Hricsina, who is trying to respond right now to a red-hot Earl Anthony.
Ooh. Well, that almost ensures that Mr. Anthony is going to move on, because double pinnacle, when your opponent is striking like Earl, is not the way to catch him. We talked about that he threw the ball slower last time, and this time, soft speed again, doesn't get the ball out as far. Not soft at that one, though. And the ball hooked early or overreacted when it hit the dry part of the lane, was right through the heart of the pin.
So a disappointed John Hricsina now finds himself in a very deep hole, trailing Earl Anthony by way too many pins in the latter stages of match number 1.
And you're into the part here now where if you can do it with the pencil, you can do it with the bowling ball. The best John can get is 233 if he wires it, and that's what he needs to do.
Excellent projection there and a beautiful shot. And Susan, of course, applauding that one, but realizing that time could be running out for John here this evening.
Right. Earl strikes twice more and the game's over.
Possible 279 for Earl the Pearl, who lives now in Cornelius, Oregon. Bowled most of his career out of Tacoma, Washington. Stood up on that one, and I think that might have been a touch of a tug because Earl turns around and with that wry smile whispers something to himself.
A little smile there saying, hey, I got away with one right there. The ball just held pocket for me all the way down the lane. As we see the look on his face here, and he's, what's it going to do? It should go high, but it didn't.
He knew that that wasn't the A shot, but he got A-plus results.
There's the A shot.
Earl just keeps rolling along. You and I kidded last night. Would there possibly be a perfecto on the telecast this evening? No senior player has ever had a perfect game on national television.
Well, it's entirely possible. 8 of them so far this week. Tommy Tuttle had 2 of them. And John just getting the overreaction on lane 40. When he gets it wide, the ball hooks too quick and goes hard. He's just throw a little harder on that lane, although he doesn't have any more shots to throw on that lane.
Of course, John has 4 children. Here are the pair of the boys.
John Jr. and Bill. See the resemblance, the family resemblance there.
John has bowled on the PBA Tour, hasn't he?
Right.
This one slides by, but as John Hricsina has already realized, he will have to settle for 5th place this week and be a part of history as Earl Anthony will advance. All of his fans all over the country rooting for Earl. Come on, Earl, stay in the championship round.
One more game. The career gets extended. One more game.
It's, you know, it's amazing. I wonder what's going through his mind now. I wonder if that's how he is thinking about it or approaching it at this stage.
Well, if I know Earl Anthony, he's taking it one shot at a time, but he's only satisfied with one thing, and that's winning this tournament. That's the only thing that's going to satisfy Earl.
With 2 more strikes, John Hricsina would post 201. Earl Anthony still with room for 279.
And it'll be interesting to see when Jimmy Certain comes on and plays if he gets that same kind of overreaction, if the right-handers are going to get that against Earl Anthony tonight.
Tell you, John Hricsina is so strong, though. When he gets pumped up, gets juiced up, and starts hitting that thing a little bit harder, he just makes it overreact, I think, from time to time. 191 for Hricsina, who will head to Hammond, Indiana for next week's championship round. Six pin, kick it out. Oh, my.
Earl doesn't care right at this point. No. When you're getting tapped when you're winning by 50 pins, it doesn't bother you at all.
Spoken by a man who, now come on, be honest with me. I don't care if you were 50 or 60 ahead. When you left a 4-pin or a 4-9, you didn't walk back thinking, oh, it's no big deal. You held a grudge, admit it.
No. If it's a one-game match on TV, I could care less if I was winning by 50 pins and got tapped in the 10th. In fact, you want to do that then. Get it out of the way.
That's that positive thinking pattern I was looking for right there. I'm going to mark that down. Durbin said he did not care about being tapped in the championship round. Well, 258 with a strike here. Nice way to start the curtain call, wouldn't you say?
And throw a little fear into the rest of the opponents.
Yes. Earl Anthony with a strike and a game of 258. And coming up next, Mike Durbin's Average Builders, and this week it's time to work on straightening out that arm swing. We all need that help, so when we return, make sure that you pay attention.
Break the mold. Taste the cold of Diet 7-Up. It's a few degrees away from the everyday. Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet. Break the ice.
What is a hit?
What is a hit? What is a hit?
What is a hit? If it's on VH1, it's a hit.
VH1. The greatest hits of music video.
I scream, you scream. We all scream for ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. Thank you. Hershey's chocolate syrup.
He's got a 5-iron. No, it's the new Grooming Edge from Black & Decker. He clears the rough. Now with a twist, he edges the bunker. Oh, what a shot. He grooms. He edges. The Black & Decker Grooming Edge, the trimmer, with a competitive edge.
Average Builders is brought to you by Pizza Hut, home of the incredible Picnic Pairs deal. Pizza Hut, making it great.
What all of us would like to achieve in the sport of bowling is a nice, straight arm swing. And the easiest way to do that is to develop a free swing, because a free swing wants to swing straight. The trouble is that all of us use muscle to some degree or another, and that can cause problems in the swing. Two of the more common problems are, one, where I come back here and the swing gets away from my body like this. It's called a bump out. And two, the exact opposite, where it comes and gets behind my back. Now, the corrections for these are really not that difficult. For the first one, where the swing gets away from my body, as I'm starting my approach, what I want to do is push the ball slightly right. This will compensate for the swing being away from my body in the backswing and hopefully create a straight swing. For the other problem, where the swing is behind my back, I do the exact opposite. As I start my push away, I push gently toward the center of my body. Again, this will compensate for the swing being behind my back and straighten it out in the back. Well, what does my swing look like? Let's take a look and see how straight it is. There I go. Looks pretty straight to me. I'm pleased with that shot. You remember this. The straightest swing is the freest swing. We'll see you again next Thursday night from Hammond, Indiana. And if you have trouble in the meantime, look up your local PBA pro.
There's a breed of man who lives for the challenge of the grill, the roar of the flames, and the cold steel of the spatula.
Let's cook.
Dad, we're doing pizza.
But this summer, Pizza Hut has the incredible Picnic Pairs deal. Try one of 3 great Pizza Lovers pizzas for just $8.99 and get a second for just $4 more.
Okay. Who wants another side?
Pizza Hut, making it great. Budman.
This 4th of July, find a Budman inside packages of Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry Draft.
Man, are we going to spend the 4th boxed up in here? No.
You could win one of thousands of prizes.
What kind of prizes you guys got?
I got a Jeep.
All right. Hey, I got a towel. Oh. Okay, I got a plan. Toss the towel in the Jeep and pick me up. Uh-oh. Hey, she got the Jeep. Okay, plan B. We raid the snack aisle.
Nothing beats a Bud
Man.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaves. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. The resurgent Dave Winfield of the Angels is showing he still has some pop left in his back. He'll face the home run power of Cecil Fielder and the Tigers. Live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Welcome back to Flint, Michigan. Jimmy Certain, our number 3 seed, finishing up the practice shots on the championship round pair of 39 and 40. Earl, you see on the other practice pair, throwing a couple of shots. Let's look at the players and how they qualified. And Earl had the furthest distance to go, Michael. He started 31st.
And he just kept creeping up there. He got up to 4th after 3 rounds, but hung around 7th or 8th the whole match play, and then finally made his move with a couple, 3 games to go.
Richard Beattie promptly averaged right around 250 for round number 3, grabbed a hold of the lead and just did not surrender it.
And proved that he's a great front runner. He got out in front and just got further out in front as the tournament went on.
Jimmy Certain's goal, written right on the bio sheet that I'm reading right now, always to beat Earl Anthony and Dick Weber whenever I have a chance. This will be his final chance at Earl.
If he doesn't beat him now, he's never going to beat him again.
Only in his dreams, perhaps.
Maybe.
The man who shot 300 in the position round game last night, Jimmy Certain.
Starts right with a solid 10, and I was watching his practice shots, and he was having trouble, especially with the left lane, with it hooking too quickly, and he left a Durbin of 3.6910.
That's interesting because Hricsina seemed to have the overreaction on lane 40.
Right. Well, Jimmy told me in practice that he thought the left lane hooked a little bit more than the right. So, you know, my reaction may be different than theirs or yours or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the same for everybody.
Anthony, coming off the 258-191 victory in game number 1, would like to start the same way with a 4-bagger.
It'd be interesting to see if the heat has any effect on any of our players as far as being able to grip the ball or lose the ball or make quality shots.
Temperatures here in Flint have been in the mid-80s throughout the entire week with a bunch of humidity. As Earl leaves a 6-pin with the opening offering.
Now, always when I would leave a 4-pin or something like that, my move was always a half a board left. I don't know what some guys' adjustment for a 4-pin or a 6-pin would be to throw it a little bit harder. I know Nelson Burton used to do that for years. I don't know what Earl's adjustment is, whether he's going to move a half a board to the right or whether he's just trying to pick up the speed a little bit.
I bet his would probably be speed, Mike, because that was his forte through all those years. Rather than get confused with angles and moving your feet and your line and direction, just put another mile per hour on there. Or take it off.
It was easy for me to get confused.
See, you said that yourself. Although I would concur. Both players with a spare up. Earl trying to get something started. And he does. With one of those patented roll-through shots. That ball never stops rolling all the way into the pin.
And he swung that a little bit wider, and it just finished perfectly.
Sure, Jimmy noted that as well. I mean, Jimmy realizes at this point in time, 230 or better, or he's going to have a hard time winning, don't you think?
I would think that's going through his mind, absolutely, yeah. If I were out there bowling, that's exactly what I'd be thinking.
This guy right here is a gamer, though. You know him well.
Fights you every shot.
Mm-hmm.
No quitting.
Tries to trip out the 4, and yeah, you could see that thing roll up.
Jimmy's been having trouble on television lately. He made the championship round in Las Vegas a few weeks ago and bowled a poor game there. Just has not been able to get on track on some of the times on TV, and other times he's bowled great. So lately, though, he's just been struggling a little bit. He's there so many times. He just has been bowling fantastically well on the senior tour ever since he's become a senior.
His career really rejuvenated at the age of 50.
Jimmy, a 5-step player. Holds the ball just above the waist, pushes it out, shoulder-high backswing, and that little shotgun follow-through. You wouldn't think that would work, but it's working very well for him.
Boy, from shoulder through the hand, he may have the same kind of strength that Hricsina has. Very physical type player.
More room. And the 10-pin.
Well, that's such a deceiving release because you talk so much about the thumb dropping out and then rotating with the fingers. And with Jimmy, it's almost like the ball is a foot out on the lane and his hand is still in it.
Well, it's what he calls his fan shot. He's actually on the side of the ball to begin with then, and he's not trying to really lift the ball hard. He's just kind of a little almost top shot or spin shot over the top to make it roll later down the lane, and it's worked very well for him on senior tour conditions.
3-9 spare counts for the man from Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, that's a difference in his game now, too, is he takes that shiny ball and throws hard and straight at spares, and he's become an excellent spare shooter.
Parity for Earl on the championship round pair. Plenty of strikes on both lanes. That one rolled up. I wonder if the right-hand lane is starting to break down a little bit as Earl glanced back.
Well, he's talking to himself. He's got to make some kind of adjustment on that lane. Personally, I would think that he needs to move in just a little bit and move to the right. You know, he doesn't throw real hard, as we can see. His speed dropped 1.5 miles per hour going down the lane. Very low arc. You can see the difference. Most guys, it starts in and gets further out down at that point. Woo! He just barely got the 10-pin.
That'll give you indigestion. Of course, we want to thank the good folks from Brunswick for supplying us with bowler track here this evening, all summer long, all year long now on the senior tour, the touring pros, and of course the ladies, a wonderful way to chart the way the professionals are playing the championship round pair. Geez, we saw 7 strikes and 8 frames in game number 1, and the boys have settled in here in match number 2.
And only 1 strike so far.
Rolled end over end a little bit more. Earl pulls up the trousers, hoping for a strike, and the wish is granted.
And he's trying to create a little humor with Mr. Certain, but Mr. Certain is all business right now. He says, hey, I'll laugh with you later, Earl. Right now, I'm going to win this game.
Have you ever seen the Doomsday Stroking Machine so animated?
No, I haven't. You know, I don't know whether that's good or bad.
Well, I think he's kind of enjoying the moment. Good shot here by Jimmy Certain, who stretched out with that one, and now he has his first strike. He's down by 2, but could take the lead with a double here.
And Jimmy is in this, you know, for the duration. He's not about to just get into a laughing match with Earl. You know, this is serious business to him. He wants to win this game and then go on and win this tournament.
Yeah, history right now has little bearing on the way Jimmy Certain is feeling.
If you retire Earl, goodbye. One less spot in the finals. Or one more spot.
Don't forget to call her right.
Yeah, right.
For the lead.
And has it. A little more extension. You see, if you pick that up, and, you know, he's still got that over-the-top release, but he's just extending a little bit further and getting that ball to break about 6 inches further down the lane. As we see, straight arm swing there, and the ball goes a little bit further down the lane. Now it makes its arc flush.
Earl trying to come back with a double of his own. He made the adjustment and perhaps a little bit too much.
And now lane 40 has got him completely puzzled. That's 4 straight shots on that lane that he has not struck. 10th frame, you remember he left the 6 pin the game before. See, the 1 pin has to hit the 3 in order to get a strike, and he didn't do that.
Touchy spare, and that's exactly what he did. Barely touched the 6 pin, but Certain right now works on a double, looks over and realizes now that he is up by 8 pins.
If Earl wants to extend that career 1 more game, he's got to find something on lane 40, Dan. He's got to make some kind of adjustment with speed or angle or hand release. And he has to finish on that lane. Jimmy's made him finish. No, he's going to finish on the lane he's hitting. I'm sorry. He's going to finish on this lane.
Comes back with a strike, and perhaps that's the most important shot, as you've talked about many times. When you've got a tough lane, you got to make sure you keep striking on your good lane. Well, we'll take a break here. Jimmy Certain leads by 8 in match number 2. We'll be back right after this.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, Desonex, do not stall. Desonex intercepts athlete's foot before it turns ugly. Killing those grungy fungi before they get cracking and burning. All you hard chargers, Desonex knows you. Stall no longer, please. There's a can at the store with your salvation in it. Come get it, or else don't blame Desonex.
Break the mold. Taste the code of Diet 7-Up. It's a few degrees away from the everyday. Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet. Break the ice.
On the surface, it's a perfect neighborhood. But beneath the surface, there could be trouble brewing in the septic system. Ask anyone who's had a backup. Regular maintenance, including Rid-X, helps keep your septic system free-flowing and helps prevent backup. Use Rid-X once a month.
Jimmy Certain in the 6th, working on strikes in the 4th and the 5th as he leads Earl Anthony by 8 pins.
And he can increase that 10 pins each shot that he continues striking, Dan. Very easy way to keep score that way. Well, if he gets a couple more strikes here, Earl could be a long ways behind.
More loft. Oh, a beautiful reaction there. Certain now has 3 in a row.
And there's his daughter, Brittany. Beautiful little girl.
Think it's hot enough out there?
Well, Jimmy's sure he's going to need to change it if he keeps winning games.
Yeah, first half, go to the locker room, come out in the second half, right? And we can't express how difficult it is for a professional player when it's that hot to keep the same kind of feel in the bowling ball. It's tough. Light hit. Messenger never did get to the 10 pin, so
but he didn't leave the pocket 7-10 either. That was up there for a minute.
A player that throws the ball like Jimmy, too, is susceptible to that kind of a split, isn't he?
Right, with that soft speed and that tremendous arc coming in behind the head pin like that is when you leave those pocket 7-10.
Throughout the years, Earl Anthony has responded many, many times in fine fashion to pressure. He'll have to do so right now.
Well, he has not hit the 1-2 pocket. Well, he left the 6-pin in the first frame, but he's just been flirting with it on this right lane and not really figured it out.
A little more room.
10-pin was slow, but it went.
Wonderful strike for Earl, who now has a double. Let's talk about Friday Night Baseball on ESPN, the Oakland Athletics, and, of course, the Red Sox. That's the featured game beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time. And over on the National League side, the Cubbies and the San Francisco Giants, or Pittsburgh and Los Angeles. Friday Night Baseball, Major League Baseball. If it happens this summer, you'll see it on ESPN.
This is for the lead. And he's got it.
Whew, that ball held pocket just as nice as you could be. Now Jimmy Certon's going to have to get up off the bench and answer the call.
And did you see Earl when he came back there? He said, "Come on, Jimmy." You know, I mean, he wants a challenge then.
One other player that I recall talking to who used to really deep down inside root for his opponent in the championship round was Don Johnson. He was always hoping the guy struck every shot so he'd have to max it out. A little wider. Boy, the right-hand lane is just dead lock city for Jimmy Certon.
And that's where he's going to finish. So the key shot of the match right now for Jimmy Certon is coming up now in the 9th frame.
Do you think going through his mind is that near pocket 710 the last time on 39?
No, I think he's just thinking what he wants to do with the shot, how he wants to deliver it, and he's going to leave the carry up to whether they fall down or not. Mm-hmm. And he got it.
Boy, it looked like he tightened up the line a little bit.
Well, his body English was, is it going to hold? What's it going to do? And it struck. That gives him back the lead by 7 pins. And see, at this point, when it starts to make its arc, he doesn't know whether it's going to creep high. And it just kind of held, had enough speed to hold. Earl has to respond with a strike on his tough lead.
A little more speed.
Uh-oh. Back in front by 3. We got a great match here.
Earl with the possibility to shut him out.
2 strikes and 8, he shuts him out. Earl goes all the way, he shoots 250. Jimmy goes all the way, he bowls 247. So it's whoever can perform in the 10th frame, and that's what so many matches on the PBA Tour and the PBA Senior Tour boil down to. More room.
On the good lane, there's one. Jimmy Certon so many times has watched Earl Anthony put somebody away, and he realizes that it could be over, but then again, on the other side, if he doesn't strike, Jimmy's got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you're just sitting there, and it's not over until he throws this strike and gets 8 pins on the next ball. So, I mean, he hasn't done it yet. More room again. Oh, he's just too tough, Denny. He's too tough.
Mike Durbin responding to some brilliant shot making from the PBA's all-time leading titleist with 41. There you see. Now he'll blow off the sigh of relief, but the calculator is humming right now. Let's see. I need 8 to give Mr. Certon an early exit.
And the calculator saying 10 is better than 8.
Yes. 9 will take, but I'd rather have 10.
That's enough. What can you say, Dan? I mean, the man has just been doing that for years, and he's going to quit.
Yeah, but all those seniors all over the country are just applauding that fact. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Jimmy Certain with a very gritty, solid performance that just came up a shot short. You look at that 7-10, that shot that he hit the pocket with in the 7th, that was the difference in the match.
That was it. You stop striking one time against Earl, and it's too much. Back-to-back 250 games for Mr. A, and look out.
We'll be back. Will Earl continue to climb up the ladder? Only time will tell. And, of course, we'll take a look at the rest of the top 24 as they finished here in Flint, Michigan this week.
Did you know that the biggest user of paper in the world is the federal government? That thing they call red tape is unrecycled paper. It's our trees they're wasting. We have to tell them to take it back. Call your congressman, call the president. They work for us. We recycle, so should they. Tell them to take it back.
Buy stuff that's recycled. Recycle the stuff you buy. Take it back. The Coors Light Rock and Roll Summer is really cooking. Yeah, this summer, the beer that won't fill you up is making sure the rock never stops. Visit the display and you can instantly win Carver's Ultimate Stereo System, cost stereophones, 10 portable CD players, and cassettes from Capitol Records just by looking for the specially marked cans. So rock on with the Silver Bullet this summer and chill out.
When you...
And, of course, Richard Beattie, our top seed, stepping in after game number 2 to get a couple of practice shots in.
Well, PBA rules allow him 4 shots, and there we see the final score of the previous match. As you said, Jimmy Certain with a very gritty 226. Earl Anthony just never stopped striking once he got that first double.
Finished with the last 7 in a row to shoot 250. A big game for Earl Anthony as he moves on now to match number 3. And, of course, we promised you a look at the rest of the top 24. Rich Holden with a terrific tournament. Tita Semez just missed.
Lost to Earl in the final game. And, of course, John Handigard, a previous winner in Las Vegas, and the legendary Dick Weber.
And let's take a look at the rest of the top 24.
George King and Tommy Tuttle with 2 300 games. Shell Wilson and Lon Marshall, former employee with the PBA.
Yep, what a brilliant week for Lon Marshall. Jack Horner, number 14.
Bob Kwalik always seems to be in the finals, and another one of the Johnson boys. This one's Wayne. Don Sample in his first PBA finals, and Larry Gilder bowled very well, especially the opening block. Don Irving, Les Steele was in first place at one time in this tournament.
And rounding out the top 24, Jimmy Novak, very possibly the best bowler in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, had 300 and 299 this week.
And he was tickle pink. And, of course, Jim Brown, what a great name.
Oh, wait a minute, that's supposed to be number 32.
Yeah, right.
Jimmy Brown with a terrific finish. All right, the Doomsday Stroking Machine has already eliminated 2 players. Now, Gene Stus is next in line here in Flint, Michigan, when we return.
Pick up line 2. I need that file now.
Line 4.
Find the blueprint.
Jose.
The power to put it all behind you. To kiss all the stress, all the stomach-churning headaches of business goodbye. That's the power of United. That's the power of the friendly skies.
For help with your vacation, call your travel agent or United Vacations.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
No matter what you drive, no matter where you drive it, or under what conditions, you can rely on Champion spark plugs to help your engine run smoother and more efficiently on or off the road. Champion spark plugs. No matter what you drive.
Now, for all you rookies out there, the great Nolan Ryan will demonstrate his pitching technique.
the Bic Metal shaver, because I want to look as good off the mound as on. Before the game, it's Bic Metal. After the game, it's Bic Metal. The Bic Metal shaver, because even good old boys want to look good. It's the choice of this right-hander, the Bic Metal shaver. It makes me look good every time out. There's that one.
Break the mold. Taste the cold of Diet 7-Up. It's a few degrees away from the everyday. Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet. Break the ice.
Why should you watch ESPN's Friday Night Baseball? Why ask why? Try ESPN's Friday Night Doubleheader.
In case you've just joined us, Earl Anthony's final tournament, his final appearance in the championship round, and now he takes on Gene Stus here in match number 3. Earl with games of 258 and 250 already here this evening.
And he's just going pack.
Just like the grocery store that he worked in back in Tacoma, right? But Gene Stus will have none of it. And he comes out and throws a big right hand in the opening round.
And he's proved that he's not afraid of anybody, even a legend.
Lane 39 looks to be the better of the two, but the adjustment, I think, was made at the end of that match on the right-hand lane.
He's having a good time out there, I'll tell you.
So is Gene now. Don't you understand, Gene? This is pressure business. You know, it's funny because he was the most intense player in television, Earl, throughout all those years. And to see him like this, it's so much different.
That's the last hurrah, the last go-around, whatever. All those cliches.
Yeah. I think we've used them all already, haven't we?
I guess.
We'll think of a few more.
For the double. Boys, he got 39. There's just never a doubt on 39.
The Andy Verapapa 300, a definite possibility on that lane.
Yes.
Now, the better of the two lanes, by and large, thus far for the right-handers has been lane 40. Let's see how Gene handles that lane.
Sends it wide. Kind of came up. You see him come up at the line on that one and didn't get the lift, and the ball didn't make the turn. When you leave that 2-8 like that, you haven't thrown it real well.
If he does have an Achilles heel, in the times that I've had a chance to watch him under pressure, that might be just it, Michael. A little up too quick.
Comes up too quick and the elbow flies down.
Yeah, bad combination.
It usually spells trouble.
As you well know.
Makes a 2-8 with no trouble. I'm just ignoring those comments.
I noticed that.
5-step player stands erect as he starts. Steps. Pushes now. Look at how the ball's perfectly in time. Shoulder high backswing. See him come up and the elbow break out to the right. He tried to steer it back then. He didn't trust his swing.
Well, you know it'll hook back on 39. Down by 10.
It's just so much easier to throw that single strike than when you've got the strike up and you're going for the double. It just, there's a click in your mind. Ooh, double time. Except Earl doesn't have that click in his mind.
Right. Well, the difference between Earl is instead of thinking of a 2-bagger, he's thinking of a 4-bag.
Or more.
Yeah. More speed.
And his first solid 7-pin, he left boo-goos with him this week. He left a lot of 7-pins this week. And hasn't, that's the first one he's left tonight. Keeps Stuss in the match at this point in time, because if he strikes there, chances are he's coming back with one more, and he's out with 4 in a row. Cross lane at the 7-pin. Trouble.
A little sticky at the line.
Boy, he just was real soft with that follow-through. I've never seen Earl throw a shot like that. Earl Anthony's only 400 tournaments, 215 average for 13,000, almost 500 games.
The other thing that you don't see right there is the fact that Earl, throughout his PBA career, knocked down nearly 3 million pins.
And he made the championship round 115 times.
That's how you do it right there. Just like watching Babe Ruth hit a homer at Yankee Stadium.
How many pins did you say he knocked out?
Nearly 3 million.
Well, a quick calculation that says it's 47 cents a pin. Did he
Right.
knock that?
Saw that on Sports Center. You know, you learn something every day.
Oh, yeah, to spoil it.
Doesn't sound like much, but when you knock them down 10 at a time, that's $4.70. Do you want to take this further?
Well, I know, but I'm just thinking in modern-day parlance when they're talking about Roger Clemens and how much he's getting a pitch and how much a win. And
I got to believe Roger's getting more than 47 cents a pitch.
Yes, I got to believe he is, too. It's like
we'll look into that.
47,000 a pitch or something like that.
At the 2. Now, Gene Stus, with spares on the right-hand lane, needs a strike on lane 40.
And that's the lane that he chose to finish on. Which tells you this, Dan, that he's just not making the shot right now yet that he wants to make on the right lane. He's still not comfortable out there.
Told me that he was heading out to the West Coast to bowl the 3 senior stops to get some experience, learn a little bit about the tour, and find out how he could compete. Came back with a victory. Well, you can see what a difference in the shot that he makes on the left-hand lane, because he knows for sure that ball is going to hook back. Earl on a strike, leads by 9, maybe 19 if the X is here in the 5th frame. Richard Beattie, our top seed, waiting in the wings for Earl Anthony or Gene Stus.
Well, 10 more pins ahead, 19 ahead now. Gene's a very confident guy, very easygoing guy. Already had 3 heart operations. I guess he's learned through all that not to get too serious over these things.
You know, you can draw the analogy, too, that Earl had the heart attack. A lot of similarities in a lot of these players tonight. Isn't that interesting? And one thing that you mentioned, and really as a tribute, as Earl strikes again, the fact that, and we'll develop this, that Earl has won more titles after the age of 40 than any other player. We'll talk about that when we return to Flint, Michigan. Earl Anthony leads by 29.
It doesn't take long to see or hear the real advantage of the Napa Advantage muffler. A limited lifetime warranty that's got you covered when other mufflers don't. That's because the Napa Advantage features the unique rust fighter Absorbite that less expensive mufflers don't have, which is why, in the long run, cheap mufflers are cheap. For the participating Napa Advantage Service Center nearest you, call 1-800-338-3800 and have them install the advantage of a lifetime.
Napa mufflers are supplied by these Napa Auto Parts stores.
The 1991 Lincoln Continental. See it at your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Charles Darnay.
Of course, that cup may end up being sold when we're done. That's the water cup of Earl Anthony. Everything he touches now will be sold.
He's retired.
Which reminds me, you and I need a picture of him after this is all over.
Together?
Sure. It's like getting your picture taken with Babe Ruth.
That's right. You're absolutely
Or
right.
Jack Nicklaus. Or Gordie Howe.
A little better shot there.
Ooh, he used the break to gather himself through a good shot and left the soft end.
Trouble is that you just don't have time to get everything together where you can make the quality shots that you want to when you're bowling a bowler like Earl. He just keeps striking at you on this kind of shot, and you just fall further behind.
Kind of like getting caught in the web. The more you struggle.
That's exactly it.
All right, the Stuss family here in full support. Trying to coax a victory out of Pop.
Well, he's almost in the position where he, you got to start thinking, what can I get if I strike out?
This is the point of no return.
Oh, yeah, he's getting right to that point. The lane he picked to finish on, he's yet to get a strike on.
You're right to the edge of the cliff looking over, wondering if you have the parachute. And will it open? Ooh, this one comes up high, runs right past the 4 and the 7, so the fast 8 for Gene Stus. And on the fast track right now, Earl Anthony.
As we were talking about, we're already assuming that Earl is going to win this game, which is not a foregone conclusion. But what is Richard Beattie thinking as he's practicing over on lanes 47 and 8?
We'll have to ask him. It's kind of like, would you like to be the Wally Pipp of the world? Or, you look back at his career, and of course, for those of you who have just joined us, Earl has already told us this is the final tournament, final championship round appearance in his illustrious career, and he's making the most of it. Looks like he is going to get to the championship game.
Well, it looks like a right-hander's not going to beat him, but it's going to have to take another southpaw to get him off track. But the way he is striking, Mr. Beattie better have his striking shoes on, too.
In disbelief, striking on the right-hand lane. Well, I don't know why he's so surprised. The lanes were relatively easy all week here. You made good shots, you hit the pocket. You hit the pocket and you carried. You threw lots of those strikes. Well, he is looking at another possible 279.
Well, 258, 250. He's got 508 for the first two and 279 here. What does that come out? 787, something like that?
Yep. It's a flight I took one time from San Jose. Flirting with disaster, and it finally jumps up and grabs Gene Stus, who is surprised as anybody in the building that he leaves the washout.
Just trying to finish and get out of the way and then watch the final match himself and see history in the making here.
And, of course, one of his very good friends, Richard Beattie, will match up with the great one in the championship. Move it over. Not enough.
Not enough.
Of course, for all of you in Hammond, Indiana, that are watching this one, you'll have to wave goodbye to Earl because he will not be available next week, but we'll have the rest of a very talented crew out here on the PBA Senior Tour, as we'll show you the finals of the Hammond Open beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time. Little light hit. Come on, two-pin. Wiggle around and fall down. And it does. So Gene says, well, I got my break. It just came about 4 frames too late.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right now, Earl is just got it on cruise control and just finishing out the game and seeing what he can bowl. Thinking about winning his 46th title.
You know, an amazing story that Harry Golden once told me about Earl, and you and I have talked about this before. It was during a TV show and a tournament in Hawaii. Earl was the top seed. Went out and practiced for a half an hour on the championship round pair and hated it. Didn't throw any strikes. Harry Golden said, what lane do you want to start on, Earl? He says, I don't care. I can't hit either one of them. I got no chance on either one of these 2 lanes. To make a long story even longer, he shot 300.
Sounds like Earl, I'll tell you what.
Is that incredible or what? Every time Harry Golden tells that story, he just laughs. Earl doesn't admit to any of it, but it's in the record book.
And so is this one.
Just moving right along here.
He got out of the 250 right anyway.
Yeah. Beattie's thinking, geez, I was hoping for 250. Now he's going to shoot more than that. Well, will he have saved the best for last? Is there anything left for Earl Anthony here in the title match?
Well, to close it out with 300, but if I were Dick Beattie, I'd sure make him finish on lane 40.
A rare occurrence.
You just can't carry.
A 9-pin count on the left-hand lane. Earl waving to the crowd, and boy, you better believe it, they are behind him now. Another notch in the pistol. Just room for one more.
One more.
And
well,
Richard Beattie is hoping it's not him, right?
Win, lose, or draw, the next game is definitely his last. The only way you can extend it now is if they tie and have a 2-frame roll-off.
Why did you have to say that? Well, from washout to 4-9, what's left? Gene's going, that doesn't compute. I threw the shot I needed to, and I still couldn't strike.
Yeah.
Everybody perspiring heavily out there right now except for Earl. Wonder why that is. I told him, hey, take a keg of ice out and sit on it, and he laughed. He said, I might just do that. Game number 3, it's over. Earl Anthony moving right along. And when we return to Flint, Michigan, we'll have an opportunity to talk with Earl Anthony, the great one.
People are taking better care of themselves and their money. That's why they're spending more time at McDonald's today. For food and prices that are right for the times, served up with the kind of service that made McDonald's McDonald's. It's all part of getting more for your money. That's McDonald's today.
I was ready for my vacation, but afraid of being locked into inflated rental car rates. Suddenly, everything fell into place.
Help you with that excess baggage.
Thanks, she's not with me.
I mean those inflated prices. Dollar rental car is right on the airport, right on the money. Great selection, unlimited mileage. Call 1-800-800-4000.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never lets you down.
What is a hit? If it's on VH1, it's a hit.
VH1. The greatest hits of music video.
I scream, you scream. We all scream for ice cream. Ahem. We all scream for ice cream. Yeah! Thank you. Hershey's chocolate syrup.
Championship Frame is brought to you by Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. And on the PBA Tour titles, that's how the careers are measured. Standing by now is a man who won more than any other player. Here with Mike Durbin.
Thanks, Danny. And of course, the bowler who's bowled in more championship frames than any other bowler in the history of the PBA is Earl Anthony. Earl, when I heard that you were going to retire, I felt like the kid that went up to Shoeless Joe Jackson who said, Joe, tell me it isn't so. Earl, say that it isn't so.
It's so, Mike. I've really enjoyed the game. The game's been very good to me. I'm just to the point now where I'd like to get on with my life, do some other things, spend more time with my wife, more time in Oregon, maybe even more time hitting golf balls.
Well, you know, you're still young yet. You're in your early 50s. You're still winning. You're obviously, as this tournament shows, is very competitive on the senior tour. The obvious question is, why now? Why not wait a few years?
Well, I don't know. I can't give you a real reason why I would pick this particular time, Mike. I really retired in 1983, and I've just been kind of going along there, bowling a few tournaments here and there. So this isn't really retirement so much as it's just kind of phasing out, you might say. I've only bowled maybe 6 or 7 tournaments a year over the last 5 or 6 years, and this is enough.
Well, you mentioned 1983 when you retired from the national tour. You were bowler of the year at that time. When you retired at that time, was the idea that this was it forever, or were you just simply putting it on the shelf and waiting for the senior tour?
No, I was supposed to be it forever, but I got kind of talked into something there. When it started with the U.S. Open up in my hometown in Tacoma, Washington, that's what got me started bowling again, unfortunately. And after that, along came everybody saying, well, you got to bowl the senior tour. You know, we'd sure like to have you join the seniors and come out and help us with the senior tour. And so I did that, and this is my 4th year, and I just think that's enough.
Well, you know, somebody talked you into it at one time. Is there a possibility that somebody could do it in the future and we might see Earl Anthony a couple years down the road?
No, my plans are I have exhibitions scheduled through August. And after that point, I don't plan to ever throw another bowling ball. I'll still be in the bowling industry. I have 2 bowling centers, as you know, and I still plan to do some of the some speaking engagements and hopefully some television work. But as far as actually throwing a bowling ball, even as an exhibition, I don't plan to do that.
Let's look back at your career. You've accomplished things that probably no other bowler ever has. 41 national titles, 4 senior titles. As you look back over that, is there one tournament, or is there one feat, or one event that really sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, and you were involved. The national championship in 1982, when I went over the $1 million mark. And I believe that was you, wasn't it, when I bowled it?
No, you beat Charlie Tappert.
Oh, which year?
You beat the next year.
The next year. Oh, I'm sorry. But to be the first bowler to win $1 million and to do it on national television while winning the national championship, I feel is a highlight to me.
Looking back on your career, 1970, I think, was your first PBA victory in 1970 in Seattle. Tell us about that.
That was my 13th tournament, and it was my 13th wedding anniversary, and they very graciously gave my wife 13 red roses. And I think I set some scoring records in that event, qualifying records or something like that, but it was really a thrill. You never forget your first victory. It's kind of like, your first kiss or something like that. It's something you just don't ever forget. But still, I feel the highlight for me, and the one I won't ever forget is the Nationals when I went over the $1 million mark.
As you're looking back over your career, if you were sitting in your living room or something like that, or down the road, how does Earl Anthony want to be remembered in the sport of bowling?
Well, I don't, I think, and I'm not nearly as sensitive about it as I was maybe 10 years ago, but I'd like to be remembered as a bowler, a good bowler, not a left-hander. I'm tired of the left-handed stuff. I'd just like to be remembered as a bowler, a good bowler.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're remembered as a good bowler. I think that you've been an outstanding asset to our game. Thank you for this interview, and thank you for being in bowling.
Thank you, Mike. It's been really a pleasure bowling with you and against you.
Final in the semifinal, 268 to 171. When Earl Anthony comes back, he'll try and rise to the occasion for the final time in his illustrious career.
How do I know where to get my brakes done right?
Come to Midas. You get a lot of value for the price, and you get something else. Peace of mind. Knowing you get a thorough inspection by Midas-trained experts and a written estimate up front. Knowing every brake shoe and pad is guaranteed for as long as you own your car, and knowing the job will be done right. That's why more people come to us for brakes, knowing that nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Beware of HBO's all-new episodes of Tales from the Crypt. You won't believe your eyes. You may lose your grip, or get a little jumpy. That's how it goes with our terrific tales of murder, madness, and mayhem. And that's just the fun part. Tune in and you just might be another satisfied customer. Tales from the Crypt. It's only on HBO.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknown, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock him off the winches, all right?
Ricky Myers, a knockout artist looking for respect. Donald Allison making his mark in the junior welterweight division. 2 rising stars on a collision course. Top-ranked boxing, Thursday night, live on ESPN.
Final game here in the Flint PBA Senior Open, and it features a pair of left-handers. Earl Anthony, you already know him, but Richard Beattie, he is the man of the hour right now.
And Richard just literally ran off and hid in this tournament, Dennis. He just left the field behind.
Earl already with 27 strikes. Is it 28? Oh, come on, 7-pit. Well, we can count the 300 game out for Earl here this evening.
You know, I think it would be ironic, too. I can't tell you the number of times that Earl led a tournament by 300-400 pins and then lost one game on television for him. As his final appearance to turn that around on somebody would be, in his mind, I think, justice.
I can tell you this. When I was working for the PBA Tour in 80 and 81, he led the U.S. Open in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, combined over 2 years by over 1,000 pins, and lost both of those tournaments. Don't blink, because if you do, Richard will be gone. Ooh, 6-pin wiggled back and forth and finally fell. Boy, what a tough task for Beattie to just maintain the concentration.
Well, Dick comes out here and he's done an intelligent thing right off the bat. He's going to make Earl finish on lane number 40. If he's had any trouble with it, it's been on that lane. And obviously the left lane must be a little bit better for left-handers. He's finishing on the real good lane.
And on the side of the ball with address. This one comes up a little short, and he leaves the 3-9.
Just a little nervous and wanted to get that double real quick and didn't get the lift. This is his shot on the right lane here. Pushes the ball down in steps, gets the ball into the timing early, then catches up with quick steps, the slide. The reason he's got two different color shoes on there, Denny, is not because he's colorblind. It's because one of them will enable him to slide easier than the other one will.
When I talked to Gene Stus about Richard, he said, well, this will be an interesting match if he does get to the title game against Earl, because here's two of the greatest lefties of all time. He feels that Richard is the best lefty maybe ever in the state of Michigan. That he holds all the scoring records. And on the national level, Mr. Anthony has a bunch of his own. What we should mention right now, because he does have an outside shot, that if Earl would shoot 273 or better at this game, he would break Nelson Burton Jr.'s all-time four-game television record, which, of course, is 1050.
I can remember when Bo shot that, you know, you have a 279 game in there and a number of big games, so it's really not easy to do. In other words, he can't miss now until the 10th frame.
We should have told him, because he'd go out and automatically do it then, right? High now, the left-hand lane perhaps breaking down, or was that just an errant shot?
I don't know. Could have been just a little bit slower on the speed at that point. The way he's been such a machine on that left lane, I'd have to think that the oil moved just a little bit and got a little bit of an overreaction that he hasn't been getting. On the other hand, Beattie came up light on that lane. Right at the 610. Almost missed that 10-pin a while back.
ABC and PBA Hall of Famer Dick Weber on hand, and he is smiling from ear to ear because his good friend Jim Bennett called him earlier today to announce the fact that Dick has won the Salute to Champions Award, given every year now to a person that's given their life to the sport of bowling. I had an opportunity to meet Marion Ladewig last year. She was the recipient in St. Louis. Dick Weber, in his own hometown, will be the Salute to Champions champ coming up this year, and that'll be a night for him to remember.
It's a well-deserved honor. He's been just the ambassador for bowling for the last 30 years or more.
There won't be enough tickets for that one.
Dick trying to take a quick 10-pin lead. Get out ahead of Earl. It's the only way to beat him. Just like that.
Beautiful double. So Beattie answers the pressure call and leads by 10. Let's see if Earl can respond.
Oh, we know he can respond. He's been doing it his whole career.
Fans in the background. Carry. Come on, Earl, strike again.
It's hard to believe in my mind, you know, that we're not going to see that smooth style out here anymore, watching him perform. And again, Earl right at the 7th board at 15 feet, and out a little bit. In the 45 feet, it's already made its move toward the 1-2 pocket. It's already on the 10th and a half board and having to go up to the 17th board.
Brunswick Bowler Track could almost take a rest with Earl bowling, especially when he gets locked in, because the ball hits the same spot on the lane virtually every time as he leaves the ringing 7-pin.
And suddenly he's had 2 of those in this game now, and you know, if Mr. Beattie gets up and throws a few more strikes, Earl could be a long ways behind. Earl's been carrying so well, suddenly 2 7-pins in 5 frames.
Looks down at the approach, no problem with the 7. And that gentleman right there has done everything possible to make it a wonderful week for the PBA seniors.
Richard Berg, the proprietor here, and the folks here at Richfield Bowl have been so cooperative and so enthusiastic to have the seniors here, and they felt honored to have this tournament. What he's been doing all week long, I'll tell you.
Pressure now on Earl Anthony because he's down by 20. And Jerry is waiting with bated breath right now. Could it be the first championship? Could her husband beat the great Earl Anthony?
Jerry Beattie is waiting with bated breath, huh?
Thank you. I'm glad. Well, once in a while you acknowledge something that goes right. It's kind of you to do that. he likes it.
Well, I see why. Boy, Earl's down 30 pins with half a game to go.
What a turnaround. And I think this is what makes the sport of bowling great, especially now at the senior level. You're looking at the all-time best. And now you've got a local pro that's giving him all he can handle. And then some.
And then some is right.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly Earl Anthony, I don't know, he's tired or concentration is waning or something, but he's 34 pins behind. If he makes this spare, and the best he can get is 236, if he strikes all the way out, and the way Beattie is going, that may not be enough.
Needs some help, and he gets it. A little chuckle that time by Earl as he felt he was fortunate.
Kind of a Brooklyn conversion as he goes to the right of the 3-pin and just barely gets that spare, but it's on the board. Got to get something going here and hopes that Beattie stumbles.
Gives himself a little bit of life.
He doesn't need much. If Dick just stops striking one time, then Earl will still think he's got a chance.
Well, you have to be impressed with the way this gentleman's handled this situation.
Just that one errant shot in the second frame. None of the other balls just been flush. Just like that.
In dead stroke is Dick Beattie.
And has been all week long. Has been all week long.
That's a possible 280. That's the way to win a championship.
And that's the score we thought would be coming from Earl.
That's right. How quickly those tables turn. And you made one astute statement. You said if anybody's going to beat him, it's more than likely going to be a left-hander. And it very well could be. Another strike for Beattie, who is trying to, finish Earl off here.
54 pins behind, almost out of the wood. Earl has to strike out and hope that Dick opens. Still striking, though.
Yeah.
But I know that man, and no matter whether it's the first game of his career or the last game of his career, he doesn't like to lose.
Mm-hmm. Probably the most impressive characteristic about Earl Anthony. Tremendous competitor. Needs another one to stay alive, and he comes back with a wonderful shot in the ninth. Now he'll just have to sit down and hope that Dick Beattie doesn't continue to strike.
And what Dick has to do right now is realize that this is the lockup shot right here. If he strikes here, he can open in the 10th and still win this match. So don't start getting defensive now. Just throw that ball solid in 1-2 one more time. Just like that. He's going to win it unless something terrible happens.
An amazing performance. And we'll have to ask him what he was thinking about when Earl was throwing all those strikes, because it didn't affect him very much, did it?
And it's interesting, he's almost a hometown boy here.
Sure.
And yet the crowd, I'm sure they all know him and like him and everything, but they're subdued. It's just that Earl is the sentimental favorite of everybody.
And what a way to launch a senior career, to be able to tell people, yeah, I won my first PBA championship and had to bowl against the best of all time.
Doesn't matter, folks. There's a lot of oohs and ahs, but he's still going to shoot in the 240s, and he's going to win this match.
As there you see him searching for the scoreboard, adding it up, and says, yep, I've got this one handled. What a great performance for Dick Beattie.
9 out, and he finishes with 245. The best Earl can get is 236. And that's enough for Mr. Beattie.
Earl up to congratulate. And so for Earl Anthony, who has 45 PBA titles, 41 on the regular tour, 4 as a senior, it won't be number 46. He'll retire with 45 of them. And you almost can see the babe rounding the bases right now. Huh? Ted Williams, the splendid splinter, hit a home run in his final at-bat. I guess you'd have to say that Earl hit a triple.
Didn't Babe hit 3 his last game in Boston? So,
the great ones respond, and Earl did here this evening, didn't he?
He certainly did. Even going down to defeat here with 236 is nothing to be ashamed of. Just got started a little bit too late. Those 2 7-pins in the first frame and the third frame, you know, they cost him 30 pins.
And you have to think that if he would have started that quickly, Dick Beattie bowled superbly, but had Earl come out and whack, 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 it might have been a little different situation.
When you squeeze, that span gets just a hair shorter, and
Sure.
it's just tougher to make that shot. And take nothing away from Richard Beattie, because he came out and put the pressure on the greatest of all time and defeated him as Earl finishes his career with a strike.
For the final time, there goes the bowling ball. The glove comes off, and Earl Anthony waves to the crowd here in Flint, Michigan. It's been a nice, long run for the greatest of all time. We'll be back.
For all you rookies out there, the great Nolan Ryan will demonstrate his pitching technique.
The Bic Metal shaver, because I want to look as good off the mound as on. Before the game, it's Bic Metal. After the game, it's Bic Metal. The Bic Metal shaver, because even good old boys want to look good. It's the choice of this right-hander, the Bic Metal shaver. It makes me look good every time out. How's that one?
People are taking better care of themselves and their money. That's why they're spending more time at McDonald's today. For food and prices that are right for the times, served up with the kind of service that made McDonald's McDonald's. It's all part of getting more for your money. That's McDonald's today. Break the mold. Taste the cold of Diet 7-Up. It's a few degrees away from the everyday. Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet. Break the ice.
At an auction, a man named Trudeau felt a terrible itch down below. As the bidding got hot, he scratched his sore spot and was told he'd just bought a Van Gogh.
Croax kills jock itch fungus.
Solo cuts in place, because life should be a party.
With more power than standard cordless screwdrivers and 40-inch pounds of torque, the new Black & Decker Power Driver is more than a match for any job. The new Black & Decker Power Driver, one power tool that really pulls its own weight, and then some.
The championship round finals of the $55,000 Flint PBA Senior Open have been brought to you by Cruex kills jock itch fungus. By Solo Cups and Plates, because life should be a party. And by the new Black & Decker Power Driver. It's more than a match for any job. Dick Beattie, the winner here in Flint, and he did so in superb fashion. Dick, you just can't bowl any better, especially under the circumstances with it being Earl's final show.
No, that's the last person I wanted to bowl. But luckily I bowled well, so I'm real happy.
Well is an understatement. John Conti, a local representative from Anheuser-Busch, has a beautiful trophy to present.
Congratulations. This trophy's for you.
Thank you.
No truer words were ever spoken.
Yes. And we'll be patronizing our sponsor afterwards.
All right, and also Mr. Gilroy here. He is the honoree, and the reason why Earl Anthony bowled this event. I know you've got a check here for Dick.
Dick, you bowled fabulous all week. And here's your check you really earned in behalf of Richfield Center and all the people from Flint. Yeah. Hope you're back again next year.
I certainly will.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, do you have a question for our newest champion?
Well, what I was wondering, Dick, was you're sitting over there on lanes 47 and 8. You're watching Earl bowl 780 for the first 3 games. What was going through your mind as you were over there practicing?
What was Johnny's? I'm toast.
Yeah, but the way you came out striking, you certainly felt like you had a chance.
Well, I found it early, and the lanes changed a lot just sitting over there. So, like I made the right guess again.
the quickest player on the PBA Senior Tour. Let's bring out the great one. Come on out here, Earl Anthony. Well, Coach, it's the end of, as I mentioned, a very long and prosperous run. Your feelings now that this is the final time out of the old garage?
Well, it was fun. I had a great time. It's been a wonderful 21 years. I made a lot of friends, got a chance to travel around the world and make friends overseas. Bowling's been very good to me. I'll miss it, but I'm not going to miss the traveling, and I'm looking forward to staying home. Thank you all.
Earl, did you reminisce at all tonight? Did it bring back any special memories, or was it all pretty much business as usual?
I didn't reminisce while I was bowling, Denny. I knew that their scores were probably going to be very high, and I was just trying to keep the ball in play, and I carried very well. I was very lucky. This guy just out-bowled me in the championship match. I started my career, my first tournament, I finished second. I ended it with a second. I guess that's justice, right?
Earl, what I noticed tonight was just how loose and relaxed you were. I mean, you've had the reputation throughout your career as an intense competitor, that you don't like to lose in anything, table tennis, gin, or golf, or bowling, or whatever. Was that intentional tonight, being that loose?
I don't know if I was any more loose than normal, Mike. Maybe I looked that way because I was trying to keep the ball speed down. For me, the lanes were tighter, a little more oil in the heads, and if I threw the ball a little hard, it wanted to skid. So I was just trying to keep the ball soft. And when I try to keep it soft, I lower the push away real short and keep the swing real short and get the ball in the lane early, and that's all I was trying to do.
Well, you did that very well tonight.
Well, I was lucky. I had a good time.
Earl, a couple of other questions. Most people don't realize this, but if you look back at the bio, your first try at the PBA Tour was rather unsuccessful.
Yeah, I bowled 3 tournaments. In my fourth year, I'd been bowling 4 years, and I was averaging 217. So I thought, well, heck, I can bowl with these professionals, right? Wrong. I bowled 3 tournaments. I bowled Seattle, Portland, and Spokane, and didn't get a check. And so I went home and practiced for 6 years, and then tried it again.
And the next time you came out, you were ready to go. What about perhaps the greatest moment in Earl Anthony's career as a bowler?
Oh, I've had so many thrills over the years, Denny. It's bowling, as I mentioned, has been very good to me. I've won a couple of Firestones. Mike's won 3 of them. I won a couple ABC Masters championships. It always comes back, I think, to being the first player to earn $1 million and win the PBA National Championship on national television.
Well, I know there were thousands and thousands of them thrown through the years. You know, you knocked down nearly 3 million pins, but we do have the video of the closing shot, the final strike for Earl Anthony on national television. Perhaps you can give us a read on this one.
Well, I just tried to keep it between the gutter and the second arrow.
Oh, come on.
And fortunately, all 10 of them went down. I really was thinking about that. All right, when I got up, picked up the ball, I was thinking, this is your last shot ever. Let's make it a good one.
That pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Go ahead, you can applaud.
Earl, the bowling's done now. What's the future hold? Are you in business, or are you just going to spend the time playing golf? What are you going to be doing?
Well, Susie made me a promise, my wife. She made me a promise if I'd stay home more, that I could play all the golf I wanted. And then when I called her last night and I said, I'm reminding you of what you promised, she said, well, I said after you finish your chores. So, you know what a honeydew list is, don't you? Honeydew this, honeydew that. I'm sure it's on the refrigerator waiting for me when I get home. I'll have plenty to do.
You get that list too, huh?
Yeah, I'll have plenty to do.
Well, let's move back to our champion. What did you think the chances were when the Doomsday Striking Machine was doing nothing but throwing X's, Richard?
Slim and none. But luckily I found a shot myself, so...
Oh, he's too modest. He's too modest. He bowled very well. He led the tournament by a bunch all week. He bowled great. He deserved to win, don't you think? Yeah.
And, you know, I think what this also says, Earl, is there's a lot of competition, a lot of tremendous bowlers on the PBA Senior Tour.
There are, and I think more and more fans are beginning to realize that these guys aren't over the hill yet. When you still got talent like this coming up, Gene Stus is just a rookie out here, great player. You get people like Tommy Tuttle, bowled 2 300 games this week. That's hard to top that, even by the little guys, the junior circuit.
Well, I know one thing. The great ones only come along maybe once in a lifetime. Earl, the best of luck. And I hope we get a chance to see another one just like you somewhere along the way. So long, everyone. Next week, the PBA